Welcome to Folklore and Mythology, the podcast where old tales find new voices. I'm Jodie, and today we're talking about something magical, powerful, and surprisingly political. The unicorn of Scotland. That's right, Scotland's national animal isn't the stag or the lion or even the Highland cow, as much as I really wish it was the Highland coo. It's the unicorn. A mythical creature with a spiraled horn and a wild, untamable spirit. But how did this symbol of purity and fantasy become tied so deeply to Scottish identity? Let's find out. To understand the unicorn's place in Scotland, we have to set aside the glitter and the fairy tales for just a moment. In medieval times, the unicorn wasn't just a cute magical horse. It was considered a symbol of power, independence, and nobility. And crucially, it could not be tamed. That idea resonated deeply with the Scottish mindset, especially during centuries of conflict with England. A creature that would rather die than be captured. That's not just a myth, that's a message. So when Scottish royalty began using the unicorn in heraldry, it wasn't just decorative, it was defiant. One of the most iconic uses of the unicorn imagery appears in the royal coat of arms of the United Kingdom. And here's where it gets interesting. On that emblem there are two animals holding up the shield. A lion, which represents England, and a unicorn, which represents Scotland. However, if you take a closer look, the lion is free, but the unicorn is chained. Why could that be? Well, in mythology, unicorns were considered so fierce and powerful, they had to be bound to keep them under control. Some say that the chained unicorn symbolises Scotland being united with, or subdued by, England after the Act of Union in 1707. Others say it's a reminder that Scotland's spirit is too strong to be unbound, even when part of a union. Either way, it's one of the only national symbols in the world where the mascot is a mythical animal, and one that's not just cute, but absolutely ungovernable. The unicorn's symbolic power didn't come out of nowhere. In the Middle Ages, unicorns were widely believed to be real. Very rare, but very real. They were thought to live in remote forests, be impossibly fast and incredibly ferocious. They could only be captured by a virgin maiden, lured into stillness by her innocence. It's a strange image, but it tied unicorns to themes of purity, mystery, and divine power. In Christian symbolism, the unicorn even came to represent Christ, pure, hunted, and sacrificed. Its horn, called an alicorn, was said to cure disease and neutralise poison. European royals paid fortunes for what they believed were unicorn horns. They were probably narwhal tusks from the Arctic, but at the time they had no way of verifying whether it was or was not a unicorn horn. This reputation of the unicorn, holy, powerful, untouchable, this is what made the unicorn a natural choice for Scottish royalty. So when did the unicorn begin appearing in Scottish heraldry? It was around the late 1300s during the reign of King Robert III. By the 15th century, under James III, gold coins were minted with a unicorn on them. That's how serious this symbol was. It was literal currency. When James VI of Scotland became James I of England in 1603, the two royal lineages merged, and so did their heraldry. The result? Well, we mentioned it already, a unicorn and a lion, side by side, representing two very different kingdoms. Even today, the unicorn remains on the Scottish royal coat of arms, separate from the UK version. You can see that at Edinburgh Castle, and even on some government buildings, and definitely in some historic architecture across the country. It's not just a nod to tradition, it's a bold reminder of Scottish identity. So moving forward to modern times, what does the unicorn mean to Scotland today? Well, for one, it's very proudly embraced, not just in official symbols, but in culture, tourism, and storytelling. Walk through Edinburgh, or Stirling, or Well, anywhere you can think of in Scotland, and you'll see unicorn statues, flags and souvenirs. It's also a reminder of Scotland's love for myth and mystery, which is very much where this podcast stemmed from. From kelpies to selkies to even the Loch Ness Monster, Scotland has always been a land of deep folklore, and the unicorn fits right in. Wild, beautiful, and pretty hard to explain. And maybe that's the point. The unicorn doesn't have to be real to be true. As a national symbol, it represents Scotland's fierce independence, its deep connection to myth, and its refusal to be anything but itself. So why does it matter that Scotland chose a unicorn? Because national symbols tell stories. Not just about what a country is, but what it believes about itself. In choosing the unicorn, Scotland declared something powerful. That imagination matters. That wilderness is a virtue. And that even in a world of empires and politics, there's room for the mysterious, the magical, and the untamed. The unicorn reminds us that some spirits just can't be chained, and maybe they shouldn't be. Thank you so much for joining me on this mythic ride through Scotland's most magical national symbol. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow Folklore and Mythology wherever you listen to your podcasts. Leave a review if you believe in a little magic now and then. Until next time, stay curious, and remember that even a nation can be built on a myth.